I tell you, life is interesting. Life's a journey. You take steps in this direction, you take steps in that direction, sort of get lost along the way, and sometimes you fall down. But I tell you, there are some times in life where you fall down and you feel like you don't have the strength to get back up. And fear comes in. Maybe you have doubt in your life. Maybe you don't know for sure what's going to be happening in the future, and it scares you. Maybe you're worried about what people think of you, what people say about you. Just that fear paralyzes you. And I just want to ask you today, do you think you have hope?
You know, when you get old in life, things get taken from you. That's part of life. You only learn that when you start losing stuff.
There are some things in life that are out of your control that you can't change, and you got to live with. The choice that we have, though, is either to give up or keep on going. I will try 100 times to get up, and if I fail 100 times and I give up, do you think that I'm ever going to get up? No. But if I fail, I try again and again and again. For as long as I try, there's always that chance of getting up. And it's not the end until you've given up.
We can stay here, get the shit kicked out of us, or we can fight our way back into the light. We can climb out of hell, 1 inch at a time.
You will fail at some point in your life. Accept it. You will lose. You will embarrass yourself. You will suck at something.
But some failure in life is inevitable. It is impossible to live without failing at something, unless you live so cautiously that you might as well not have lived at all, in which case you fail by default.
Nelson Mandela said, "There is no passion to be found playing small and settling for a life that's less than the one you're capable of living." He says, imagine you're on your deathbed, and standing around your deathbed are the ghosts. The ghost of the ideas you never acted on. The ghost of the talents you didn't use. They say, we came to you because you could have brought us to life, and now we have to go to the grave together. To get something you never had, you have to do something you never did. Nothing in life is worthwhile unless you take risks.
If you feel you have something to give, if you feel that your particular talent is worth developing, is worth caring for, then there's nothing you can't achieve. As you start out, to know what you want, to understand why you're doing it, to dedicate every breath in your body to achieve what you feel and what you want to accomplish.
So you got to get out there, you got to give it everything you got, whether it's your time, your talent, or your treasures. While it may be frightening, it will also be rewarding, because the chances you take, the faith that you have, that's what's going to define you. What are you going to do with what you have?
The inches we need are everywhere around us. They're in every break of the game, every minute, every second. It's the guy who's willing to die who's going to win that inch.
You have to work harder than you think you possibly can. And it doesn't matter how you get knocked down in life, because that's going to happen. All that matters is that you got to get up.
It matters how you're going to finish. Are you going to finish strong?
So this is the next part. It's called Identify Your Journey. Right? In every hero's journey, there's a descent, there's a separation, there's a journey, and then there's a returning. This is the journey, right? And in a journey, we see there's three pieces to a journey. We have trials, we have obstacles, and we have oracles, right? So now as you look at and we start to really digest what we've just been through, let's take a look. Like we heard in the earlier video, Al Pacino said, it's the guy that's willing to die for that inch, right? We hear the people that are giving up and the people that are not giving up, right? When you take on the identity of the person that you truly are, and you strip away all the lies and all the false belief systems, and you start to remove those identities that don't serve you anymore for whatever reason. When you take on that identity, you become that guy that's willing to die for that inch. Because when you take on the identity of who you are, the journey just becomes a second-hand response, almost like a cause or an effect to the cause, which is I'm in my true identity. The journey just becomes second nature, right? So first, from a trial perspective, what do you need to go through for you to be able to look at the ideal persona, the ideal identity that you have, and then look at the limiting identity that you have, the one that's holding you back, and ask yourself, what's a trial? Maybe you got to jump out of an airplane. Maybe you got to hire yourself a personal trainer. Or maybe you got to go on a 5K run. What is the trial that you need to go through to build the neural synapses, or whatever they call them, right? The connections in your brain that allow that identity to solidify and go from in here to out here. Because if we don't do the behavior that allows us to really become physically who we are, we know we are mentally, and now from a spiritual standpoint, if we don't do the physical outside work for that, right? A vision without action is dementia, right? We've got to be able to not only take on this identity, but now push ourselves through the trials, right? There's a saying that I've heard time and time again that I'm learning more and more to believe into, which is the struggle is the way. Right? We as humans, we can tend to pull away from the struggles that are the very struggles that we need to be leaning into so that we can become who it is that we really want to become. And instead of doing that, we sit back and think about who we could be and never really push ourselves through those trials. Now, I'm not talking about moving mountains here. I'm talking about what's a trial that you can go through right now in your life, a real world rubber meets the road trial that you can create for you that allows you to take on and try that persona on, try that identity on, and become that thing, that person that you've already become. Like you were born this way. This isn't something that we're not trying to fix you here. We're trying to uncover. And if we don't start to work that muscle, that identity muscle of the person that we're wanting to be, we just move back into the person. It's the earlier video that talked about how, it's easy to be a loser. It doesn't take any effort to be a loser. It doesn't take any effort to allow your identity to digress into something less effective, less fulfilling, less rewarding. That is just a natural, I heard somebody say the other day, they said, there's an old Indian proverb that says you give enough time, anything will fall apart. Right? We've got to work to move in the other direction. And the only way to do that is to lean into the pain. You're going to suffer. And then like the video, you're going to suffer. You're going through pain now. When you're not the person that you want to be, you're already struggling. You're already suffering. You might as well suffer forward. You might as well fail forward. What is a trial? Something that you could put yourself in that would allow you the ability to start to become who it is that you want to become. And then the obstacle. What is the obstacle? What stands in your way? Is there somebody that you need to call out to the carpet and have a conversation with them? Is there, if you're overeating, maybe you got a bunch of food in your kitchen, and when you get off this video, maybe you need to head out to the kitchen, grab yourself a big garbage bag and start getting rid of all that food that you've been eating on, because it's there. It's an obstacle. It keeps you from being who you really want to be, right? What is an obstacle what are the obstacles that are standing in the way of you becoming who you truly are? Because 2018 is your year of becoming. What is the obstacle that you're going to overcome? And again, let's not move mountains at first. Let's start off with something that's doable, something that's winnable. What's a small obstacle? If we can't, you can't take it. What's the one that you can take a bite off of and swallow and digest? What's the obstacle that, and maybe it's not the obstacle, maybe it's an obstacle next to the obstacle, right? Maybe it's something that appears or it's related to in some way that would allow you to start to chip away to become what you want to become who you truly are meant to be. Right? What are the obstacles that are standing? Again, keep writing. Right? What are the obstacles that are standing in your way? And then the third piece of a journey, we all have oracles, right? What are the oracles that you have in your life? Who can you turn to that can help you become that which you want to become? Right? Are there places you can go to learn in business mastery or UPW, or maybe it's this Byron Katie, or maybe it's there's all these other trainings you can. Not necessarily saying, I'm just saying in general, what are some things that some places you can go to learn to really be in the space that you need to be. Maybe if you're having if there's a weight problem, maybe you go get a trainer. I remember when I first started going to the gym, I went and paid a good chunk of change to learn from a personal trainer that was the best in my area because I didn't want to have to go through it again, right? I went and found a guy that taught me so that I was always afraid. The obstacle for me was I don't know how to lift weights. The obstacle for me was I don't know how to exercise. And so I went and found a guy. I told him, I said, I don't need to be big. And this guy was huge. Like he was one of the top 6 bodybuilders on the planet at one point. And I remember telling him, I said, I don't want to spend a couple hours in the gym. That's not what I want. I want to get in, do what I need to do, and get out. I don't need to be big and buff. I just want to know how to use the tools, because the obstacle was I didn't know how. And so I went and found somebody that was able to teach me how to do what I needed to do so that I felt comfortable walking in, because what I didn't want to do, here was my deepest fear, and I'm going to own it here on this video. I didn't want to be one of those gym fails. Like I didn't want to be one of the guys that was using something I was supposed to be using for my arms with my legs, you know what I mean? And then there's some guy in the corner recording it with this video and he's putting it on YouTube. I didn't want to be that guy, right? And so I used that desire to not be shamed as a motivation to hold me back, to keep me from working out in the gym. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not an Adonis by no means, but I do know to go. Now I can know how to go in and work out in the gym, and I was able to set in a schedule to where now I know from this time to this time I'm at a gym. And where did I learn that? I learned that because I found an oracle that could help me. What mentors do you have? Are there people in your surroundings that can mentor you to get you closer to being this person, this self that you're already? Right? This new identity. Again, it's not about setting a goal. What we're doing now is we're identifying the ways that we will become in it. And this is a year-long journey that we're on. 2018 is the year of becoming, not January. 2018. If you can do it in January, more power to you, but we want to give everybody enough ramp where everybody can succeed, right? What are some mentors that you can identify in your life that will step up the game and allow you the ability to take on the identity of who you really want to become, right? What are some ways that you can start to anticipate how it feels to be this person? Maybe there's places where you get to go and you get to practice being this identity, right? Maybe there's times during the day where you take it on. Maybe there's books that you can read, workshops that you can take. Like, what are some ways that you've identified in your surroundings that will allow you the ability to really anticipate what it feels like to interact as this new person that you're becoming? Because again, once we become this person, there's no obstacle that will get in our way. There's no, person that will tell us we can't. There's no reality that we won't be able to step into and own our space, because we're choosing the identity that that we want to show up as. We won't have to worry about how why do I keep doing this anymore? Because now what we're doing is we're taking back the control of the identity, and now we're going to start the behaviors that line up with the identity that we want to take, and then behaviors will drive us even farther forward. What part of you must die? What part of you, like, this is a goal, this is a in your gut kind of question, right? What part of you has to die? Because you can't stay where you are and get where you're going. It's just not possible. What part of you has to die so that you can take on the new identity and own it as yours? And what's a way that you can either through metaphor or realistically kill that part of you off? Again, maybe it's going in and maybe you've got stuff on the walls that reminds you of something, and you're going to take all that stuff down, right? Maybe you're not going to be gloomy anymore, so you're going to take down all your gloomy pictures, right? Whatever that is. And what part of you has to die? Well, and what I mean by that is, well, maybe you're a guy maybe you're a depressed, angry individual. So the part of you that has to die is the part of you that is always looking to get control. Right? Maybe it's a control issue for you. So you have to give up. And again, I don't know. I'm not trying to tell you what to think. We want to identify that, because the part of you that has to die is the part of you that's going to try to unconsciously trip you up. And you want to identify that and own that this part needs to go away, so that you can be conscious about it, so that you can keep it in front of you, so that it doesn't push up behind you like a shadow, right? And just unconsciously draw you and move you in directions that you don't want to go. What part of you has to die? Now that you understand the threshold of control, where is your threshold now, and where will it be when you take on this new identity? Again, let's go back to the anger issues. Maybe your new threshold of control will be, like there was a time when, I can remember April 2000, I can distinctly remember not being able to change a diaper. I can distinctly remember not being able to rub two pennies together. I can distinctly remember a time when I didn't know how to handle kids at all. Now I got 7 kids total. I've got 6, well, now 5. We're working our way down. 5 in the home, right? And I can have kids all around me, and it can get a little bit much sometimes, but for the most time, my threshold of control when dealing with children has expanded geometrically, because I put myself through the trials of changing diapers at 3 o'clock in the morning with crap all the way up to my elbows, right? So, I went through the obstacles of the being a father, and fathers don't do this and fathers don't do that, and really having to put myself in a position where I'm around those kids all the time and force myself into that. And this was clear back then. I think that when babies are born, women, they get this chemical that gets injected into them, right? It could be the ugliest baby in the world. Oh, look at the baby, it's so cute, right? And men, we don't get that. I believe that women, their struggle is supporting, nurturing, all that. Our struggle is building that relationship. That's the identity. The identity that I took on was I didn't know how, and I changed that. Or the identity that I had was I didn't know how to be a father. The new identity was I'm going to be the best damn father these kids have ever seen. What is that going to take? And it took me I'm going to have to be able to lean in. So 3 o'clock in the morning when the twins are, one of the diapers came loose and there's, magical, glowy, smelly stuff all over the place. And it's 3 o'clock in the morning, and me and my wife are both covered in, feces from head to toe, right? And we just look at each other and laugh. Because I put myself in a position where if I was still that guy that quoting his identity was, I don't know how to be a father, would that guy have gotten up at 3 o'clock in the morning and changed the diapers and being willing to sat through no, he wouldn't have. He couldn't have. There'd have been no way, because he didn't have the internal dynamics that it took to get me through that process. I had to work my way up through it. I had to build trials, and the universe did that really, but I had to build these things in and really work towards it. Where is your threshold of control now, and where will it be when you take on this new identity? Right? And really own this journey. And then from that, let's get some calls to action. right? What are the next 3 to 5 calls to action that you're fully and completely committed to doing that will allow you the ability to own the identity that you've chosen in this session? What is the 3, 5, 10, whatever the number is for you? What are the trials that you're willing to lean into? What are the obstacles that you're willing to remove? And what are the oracles you're willing to connect with that will allow you the ability to take on the identity that you've chosen to take on in 2018?
So you thought it was the end of the story. You thought that one single event, that one single moment was enough for him to stand amongst the great.
Sleep? I don't sleep. You thought that was it?
Well, you thought it was over. Well, it's just getting started. This is the part where you reinvent yourself. It's time to get tested, to test your will, your endurance. It's time to test your heart, to test your living.
It's about no days off, no weekends, no holidays, no birthdays. Listen to me, no days off. It's about gaining the competitive edge. You can't afford to make excuses. No excuses when you feel pain. And trust me, you will feel it. And all you want to do is give up. And all you want to do is give in. When you feel like you've given all you got, you got to take one more step. You got to run one more lap. You got to throw one more punch until you reach the top.
This is your beginning, but this doesn't have to be your end.
Get off the ground.
You can't do nothing without faith. You are still special.
Is it beyond our reach? No, I'm not afraid. I'm angry. You can't get in. You can't get in!
Behind every fear is a person you want to be. Fear is self-imposed, meaning it doesn't exist. You create it, you can destroy it. You face your fears, you become the person you want to be. You run from your fears, you're not living. You're alive, but you're not taking it. The freedom. You're not running the day. The day's running you. We all fall down in life. The question is, who gets back up?
You don't owe these people anymore. You've given them everything.
Not everything. Not yet.
See now what I have to become to stop men like him.
If you make yourself more than just a man, if you devote yourself to an ideal, if they can't stop you, then you become something else entirely. Legend.
You go after and you give it all you have. If you lose, at least you try, man. I failed. It's 10 times more of a man than someone said, what if? Because what if never went to the arena?
That's called courage. Now that's the stuff leaders should be made of.
You think something's wrong, maybe it's time to stop. No, it's time to move reinversion. Mentally, you must believe it before you physically start.
I choose to rise, not fall. I choose to live, not die.
The day will be that day. Not tomorrow, not next week, but right now, right here. Belief will change my world. History will remember me. I will define myself. I will never go out, not knowing I've given everything I got. Because who am I? I am the champion.
I choose to fight back.
I'm coming.
guys, whether you want to believe it or not, is a preview of their life's coming attractions. You can't imagine what it's going to be. Don't ever expect physically looking in the mirror to see it.